That you're shy, that you're timid, that you're afraid does not mean that you're not smart. Does not mean that you don't know what to say or what to do or what you're doing. It simply means that you do not believe in yourself enough. Now, how do you deal with that? And how do you deal with imposter syndrome? Alright, so this is for anyone who is suffering from imposter syndrome, or you're not confident in yourself, or you just found out that at every instance of intimidation you crack or you withdraw to your shell. So let us understand the consequence first. If you continue in that life, it's going to be difficult for you to achieve something remarkable. Trust me, if you're not confident, if you're timid. Have I always been this person? Absolutely no. I'm going to give you an instance. When I was in Nigeria, I was in Foursquare Church. I attend Foursquare. And I remember that at a point, I was getting to some leadership role. And when it's time for me to speak, I couldn't speak. I was always very timid. Trust me, I had the word. I had what to say, but I couldn't express it. What does that mean? That you're shy, that you're timid, that you're afraid does not mean that you're not smart. Does not mean that you don't know what to say or what to do or what you're doing. It simply means that you do not believe in yourself enough to let yourself out. So I didn't believe in myself enough, but I had two friends then. They would always push me to say, no, get up, say something. Even when I didn't want to speak, they would tell someone that I have raised up my hand, but and that was how it started. And then I started teaching in church. So what am I saying? I have not always been like this. That's number one. Now, how do you deal with that? And how do you deal with imposter syndrome? Now, if you're shy, if you're timid, if you're not confident, there is no magic wand. You just have to practice. It's like a muscle. If you don't... Now, I've stopped going to the gym, since maybe like 2 years now. Now, I don't have any muscle. I don't have anything. But if I start going back to the gym now, you're going to see my chest will pop out. I'm going to have muscles, and you're going to think maybe I'm a macho man because I'm exercising my muscle. If you want to be confident as well, if you want to get out of this timid, person, that personality and shy personality, because you know that God has given you more, especially in any field. It doesn't even have to be cybersecurity. You need to start practicing. Get out of your comfort zone. I was speaking to one of my teammates, very brilliant young man, very brilliant, right? And this conversation is between me and him. He doesn't know how to walk up to a girl and speak to a girl and say, okay, can we go out? I remember when I was in Nigeria, there are so many teenagers that I was mentoring that faced such situation. They couldn't go out to speak to girls, right? Even though if you are so convinced that this person is for me, and the only thing you can do in that instance is not prayer. You're not going to pray for that to fall on you. It's not singing, it's not reading the word. You just have to exercise it. Get out and practice it. And gradually, you start getting out of your shell. In my own case, it started from the church. I started speaking in church. I started raising up my hands. It started from like 5 people, 10 people, and then it graduated to a point where I was able to speak in church. Now, how do you now demonstrate that you're confident in yourself to put yourself out there? As I'm speaking to you, I know when it comes to cybersecurity, I'm very good, but I don't know everything. However, because I've taken time to study, it's going to be very difficult for me to get somewhere and not be able to speak because of what I've had on the inside. Okay? So, if you've always studied, you've always worked on yourself, the only thing you need to do is to exercise it. Exercise, like there is no magic one, there's no mystery. All right? Now, for imposter syndrome, everybody goes through that. If you're here, you have any imposter syndrome, you're not alone. You're not alone. All right? I'm going to give you my story. When I got a job, I had this imposter syndrome, and I was talking to my manager, who is like, it's like my mentor at that time, and he told me that he still has imposter syndrome as a director. Now he's gone on to become a chief information security officer somewhere. Very smart, very intelligent, very well articulate, like highly technical man. He said he still has imposter syndrome. You know why? because nobody knows what they are doing. Let me say that again. In this world, we all do not know what we're doing. We're figuring it out as we go. That is why everyone has imposter syndrome. And how do you know that? You begin to feel, is this real? Am I supposed to be here? I feel like a fraud. I feel like I'm not worthy to be here. You're worthy to be there, my dear. There's a reason why you're there. As a matter of fact, if you got a job, there's a reason why they chose you. If you think you're not good, they are not stupid to have chosen you. It's not only one person that sat on the interview panel. So there's a reason why they brought you on board. All right? You might not see what they have seen, but they saw something to bring you on board. All right? Now, how do you deal with this? Begin to think about what you have done in the past. I believe that you didn't fall from the sky to get to where you are, to have imposter syndrome. As a matter of fact, if you're not doing something good, you're not going to have imposter syndrome. Like someone who is not doing anything. Let me say that. Someone who is not doing anything, who is not doing anything worthwhile at all, there won't be imposter syndrome because you're actually not doing anything anyway. But the reason why you're having imposter syndrome is because you found yourself in a place where you're doing something big, you're doing something huge, or you believe you're doing something of a high magnitude, and you begin to think like, I'm not worthy to be there. You need to understand that you didn't fall from the sky and get to that place. You didn't fall from the sky. If you've gone to high school, how did you pass high school? If you've gone to college, how did you pass in college? Maybe you've had some work experience before. How did you cope with that work experience? How did you achieve that? How did you navigate your team? How did you relate with your coworkers? How did you, as a matter of fact, the job you are doing right now that is making you feel that imposter syndrome, how did you get the interview? How did you pass the interview? It's all you. You worked for it. It is okay that you feel that imposter syndrome, but it is not okay to stay there. You need to constantly remind yourself and be conscious of the fact that you did not jump or fall from the sky. You walked your way up to that point. There's nothing external that you want to do that will help something that is on the inside. Imposter syndrome happens from the inside, and there's nothing from the external that is going to cure that. You have to also deal with it from the inside. Think about where you've been. Think about the things you've gone through in life. Think about your experience. All right? If you're in cybersecurity and you're having imposter syndrome, think about how you got the job. Think about the reading that you've done. Think about the study. Think about the sleepless night. Think about everything that you've done to put yourself there. And then you can ask yourself, I did that. Did I not? I did it. So, you're not a fraud. Okay? I hope that is helpful. But if you have a diverse opinion, please, I want to hear from you. Put it in the comment section. Also, if you have a question that you need me to answer, put it as well in the comment section. Also, as well, we have a Zoom call where you meet with my team. You ask your question. You get to ask me questions directly, and I can answer you. And I will record it, and people can also benefit from your question. All right. Now, if you have the question and you would like to be part of my team to be on a Zoom call, you can put your details in the comment section. My team will reach out to you, and on the next Zoom call, if you're lucky, you'll be one of those that will be able to ask me questions. I hope that is helpful. I'll see you again.